Hi, Felix here with Gurney's, and today we're covering the covering process on our tart cherries, a full-size tree or an older tree. This happens to be a 6-year-old tart cherry. And Sarah's here is going to give me a hand. It's a little bit of a process to get this net up above the tree so you don't knock all your fruit off and break limbs. So she's giving me a hand and we'll start the process. Basically, we use a couple of bamboo poles to get the net up above the tree, and then it'll drape over. We'll show that to you. I wanted to talk a little bit about the type of netting that we're using today. This is just a nylon mesh, and you can see here there's just some small gaps that allow some airflow. The key is that your netting segments, the holes in the netting, aren't too big, that they're small enough to keep from having the birds' feet get caught in there. They will land on your tree and maybe try to get in and get at your fruit, and when they do that, if the holes are too large, their feet will actually get caught in it and they won't be able to get out. They won't be able to get at your cherries, but it'll be an unsightly mess that you'll have on hand there. So make sure that your openings, this happens to be about a 1/4 inch size opening, square opening on this mesh. I wouldn't go any larger than that, and that's really the ideal size. You can get that from Gurney's. Today we're using a little finer mesh here for this tree, but any mesh will work as long as airflow can get through it. And for the short period of time we're going to have this on the tree, just a couple of weeks at ripening, right when the cherries start coloring up to when we want to pick them, that's not going to hurt the tree. One of the things I like to do to keep those upper branches from leaning over too much under the weight is just give a little slack up in the center. Make sure it's not pushing down, the tension isn't pulling down too much on those limbs. It'll do it a little bit, but not too much. You can see here we have plenty. It's going down to our ground, and the next step is really just going to be to wrap around the base and tie it off around the trunk so the birds can't get in underneath this particular material. All right, the final step here with this larger cherry tree is to tie off the base, because in a high wind environment, you'll get a lot of this netting will just blow open and you'll have access for your birds. So we're going to tie off around the trunk with a piece of twine. And that's really the final step. You know, when you want to access to it, you have to unwind this or undo where your tie-off points are and to get under the tree and pick your fruit. But this keeps the birds out from the base.